Hello again, everyone. Welcome to part 2 of our video. We're just going to quickly go over a few more things about Modern Classroom to make sure you feel confident and know how English 10 will work this year. So there's a few things on Schoology that will really help you as we go through the year. The first one is the objectives calendar. You'll always be able to find this in the unit folder. Let me know if you have any trouble finding it. And this is basically an overview of the whole unit that shows you everything we're going to be doing, the main lesson objectives, and the target dates. So if you remember from the last video, target dates are expected deadlines, but they're not hard and fast deadlines. It's okay if you turn it in a bit earlier or a bit later, as long as everything's done by the end of the unit. So you can see in our Unit 0 objectives calendar here, we've got our essential questions towards the top that show you what are the key questions we're looking into. We've got each lesson listed with its target date, the standards that we'll be working on, the lesson objectives, and a handy checklist that you can use to keep track of the work you've been doing. You'll get a printed out copy of this calendar at the start of each unit, so you can keep it in the front of your folder or binder and check things off as you go to make sure you're getting everything done when you need to. Now you can see there's some color coding here. There's should do's and aspire to do's in purple and green. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a bit. So our grades for this year will continue being the same as they have been. We will be using an IB MYP rubric and criteria. So we have 4 different criteria in English: analyzing, organizing, producing text, and using language. And these are scored on a scale of 1 to 8, which translates to our ABCD usual scale. So what does that actually look like? Well, we're going to have must do, should do, and aspire to do assignments. Must do's, you must do them. They are the core skills, the core assignments which you have to do in order to really learn and engage with the material we're doing. Should do assignments are not quite as central to the unit, but they're still very important. You're highly recommended to do them, but they're not quite as high priority as our must-dos. They'll really help you dig into the material a bit more deeply. And finally, aspire to do's are things that you should aim to do if you have time, if you have interest, if you find yourself really getting the material and you want more of a challenge. But if you're busy with other things, they're going to be the lowest priority. So you'll see these terms come up again and again. Must-dos should always be done. Should-dos, you should do as many as possible. Aspire to do's are there to help you learn more and really get more out of what we're studying. Most of your grade will be the summative assessments at the end of the unit. However, if you only complete must-do assignments, you're doing the bare minimum to pass the course, so you cannot get higher than a C. In order to get a B or an A, you're going to have to make sure you do some of the should do and aspire to do's as well, because that's really showing that you're digging into the course. So here's our general grade scale. A, I showed mastery on all assignments for all units. You can see going down to a B, you showed mastery on most must do, should do, and aspire to do's. And C, you showed mastery on all must do's, and you may have done some should do or aspire to do's. This grade scale will be posted to you on Schoology, but it's a good way to keep track of the work you're doing. If you need help while we're in the classroom, of course, you can always raise your hand or just ask a nearby teacher. But if we're busy working with someone else at the moment, you probably don't want to just leave your hand up until you're as tired as SpongeBob over there. So above each table is a little string you might have noticed. There's a green card and a red card at each desk. If you have a question, but it's not particularly urgent, you can keep working in the meantime. Take that green card and clip it onto the string. If you have a question and you really need help, you can't keep working until it's answered. Take that red card and clip it up. Mr. Godin and I will keep a lookout for those cards, and that'll help us know who needs help. So we'll come by your table as soon as we can. Finally, our classroom expectations. We've touched on our Hawk values: honesty, accountability, work ethic, and kindness, and those will be the rule of thumb in our class. But we have a few general class expectations that should all be pretty straightforward. Use your time efficiently. This is a self-paced classroom. You're going to have a lot more independence than you might in a normal classroom. That means we're expecting you to use that time well. Don't be fooling around with technology or just skipping all your assignments. If you are having trouble using your time efficiently, check in with one of us. Stay positive. That doesn't mean you're not allowed to have a rough day, but we expect you to come in with the attitude that you can accomplish the work for the day. Everything that we are doing in this class is something that every single one of you in the class can do on your own or with support. So keep that positive attitude. If you have a question, ask it. That's what we're here for, and that's what your classmates are here for too. Check in with your classmates first, and if they can't answer your question, myself and Mr. Godin are here to help you out. If you cause a problem, fix it. We all make mistakes, we all have bad days. If you upset someone or you mess up in some way, just take ownership of it, and we can move forward together. And finally, be kind to others, especially if they don't deserve it. If someone else is having a rough day and they're not being the nicest, that's when we most need to support them. So these are our classroom expectations, and myself and Mr. Godin are also following these. If you feel like we're causing problems and not fixing them, let us know so that we can bring ourselves back in line as well. Overall, English 10 has a clear plan on deadlines, grades, how to get help, and expectations so that all of you can be successful. So I'm looking forward to a successful year with each one of you.